I'm just going to make this like a quick video because I just want to look at these two tarot decks that I've recently got a hold of. The Alchemical Tarot, created by Robert M. Place. The original one, which I've managed to get my hands on this week, was created back in 1995, I do believe. And I also have the 4th edition, which is brand new, straight out of the box, which I received today. This is the latest edition, what you can still buy. This one's become more of a collectible, and is actually would have to get like a used edition like what I have here, and that would probably cost you quite a bit of money. So I'm going to have a look and compare the two decks. Obviously this one's in a much bigger box. The cards aren't, well, they are slightly bigger, I've noticed, because I've had a quick look at them whilst I was just sorting out the cards into order. But they're just slightly bigger cards, but it's mainly to do with the packaging and the box, as you'll see. So let's take this one out of the box. As you can see on top, you get a nice book with this one, which you don't get with this one. This just comes purely as a pack of cards. And it's quite a nice book. I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but I am actually reading one of Robert Place's books, which I bought on a Kindle version at the moment, which I just purchased at the same time, which was in the last couple of weeks. I got these two decks. It was quite funny, really, because I was kind of drawn to this deck. I don't know a lot about tarot cards, but something told me to purchase this deck, which I've got. So this is the original. We'll go over the backs and I'll just take this one out of the box as well. And this is the 4th edition. There are editions 2 and 3 of this available as well, only I haven't seen any of those what I was able to get my hands on. But basically, as you can see, the backs are different. This one's got a kind of like it's a mythical figure back with a lot of like alchemical, it says on there, and it's got a few of the like sort of symbolistic signs on there as well. I'm actually not too familiar with cards. I do believe in clairvoyantism, but I believe it's more the subconscious mind what like sort of communicates, and I don't believe it's so much of communication. It's just like subconscious mind is more powerful than your conscious mind, and if you are able to access your subconscious mind, then you get a more, you're dealing with your own more powerful mind, which will like give you a much greater truth to the world than your conscious mind. And I do like mine more through hypnotism than I do through cards, but the cards I feel might be a visual aid to the hypnotism, so I'm going to give that a try at some point, which I haven't quite got around to doing yet. So I'm just going to flip these both over. I've put them in the same order. Like I said, I've already pre-arranged this deck style how it came, but you have both the new folder. As you can see, the card size here, they are pretty much the same height, but the original is slightly wider. So just going to look at the cards as we go through, have a quick flip through and look at like the subtle differences between the two. I can tell you right now that the original is like, well, obviously like what you'll find on all the original cards is they have this border here, but when you actually research on the deck, you'll see that's because it had like, it was just to do with the size of the card. The original artwork was designed to go on a smaller card, only they made the card wider, so they put this border in to compensate just to fill that room. So really that's not really part of the tarot, that's just part of the decoration on the card. But you got the full cards here. As you can see, the actual like character itself is the same. You have like a more symbolism on this card, like you got this symbol here which doesn't appear on here, and it's just really the colours that are different. It's much like when you look at the sky in the background, you've got a real pure blue sky, a really light blue, like it's a nice sunny day. You've got really nice, much like full of darker green grass, whereas on this one it's kind of like a lighter, like sort of like pale background. So really the background colours are very different. The size of the actual characters is different as well. It also makes the character look slightly different. It makes the rabbit especially. The picture on this one's actually been blown up, so you can see that the newer cards are like the pictures are blown up, so like the rabbit kind of looks different. It looks more scared on this one, whereas it looks more curious on this one, if you ask my opinion. So carry on through. Got the Magician again. You've got the extra symbols, it's especially like a row of symbols across the top here, which is not on this one. Another symbol down here, and another one here like a pyramid with a line through it. The fire, again, the background much more pure blue, whereas the background's different. So they seem to have like familiarity through all the cards really, is to change the pale blue backgrounds to this more darker kind of like sort of like shaded colour. The fire is also a very different colour. Here you've got like a very yellow fire with a red outline. Here the fire is more white in the middle. You also got an extra symbol on this Pacific card with a red border, but it looks more like, this is a much brighter card. This is a bit more like mythological, if like, it's more mysterious, but this one's like, it's a lot cleaner, a lot fresher, and it just seems to be a lot brighter. Got the High Priestess. Again, the background, the water on this is more of a like kind of greenish water, whereas this one's more pale blue. Again, the same similarities in the sky that we've already seen on other cards. And the pictures are the same. I actually got to say, I do actually prefer the artwork on the original deck, the issue 1 deck, which is this one. I think it just brightens up the picture to have like the blue backgrounds in the sky. The colours are a lot more deep as well, like the yellow on the crown, it's a lot more gold colour on this one, it's more like a shiny pale yellowish white on this one, it's a lot more clean and fresh on this one. The same with the beak on the eagle there, it's like a much brighter yellow on this one as opposed to this one. Now these two characters look very different, and it's mainly like, well, the card looks different, shall I say. It's mainly down to the throne, I feel. The throne on this one is a much more gold, like kind of richer throne, whereas this one's a lot more dull, looks more like wood. Whereas this one is almost cast in gold, this one looks to be cast in wood. The lovers, here you have an extra card. This deck has this like sort of more erotic kind of lovers card as an additional extra. Apparently, like when you look into it, this was the original artwork, but it was deemed too sort of X-rated by the publishers at the time, back when they published this deck. So like Robert was forced to create this new image for the lovers, but that is like an additional extra which doesn't appear in this deck. So that's like an extra card to the deck. Whereas the lover card was like re-edited to these. The moons are very different on the two cards, and so are the wings of like the actual like angel, like firing like Cupid, if you like, that's firing the arrow. There's a lot more like sort of like fairer faced in this one, the original, and then this next one. It almost looks, because they've blown out the face, it's like disproportioned. It made it look more kind of sinister in this one. Whereas here you've got like the sort of blue and the red wings, whereas here it's like kind of you've lost the colour in the wings, and with a fatter face. The lovers as well, like the woman in this one is more kind of like sort of her face especially doesn't pan out as much in this one. There's a like more of a like sort of a texture difference between the skin colours. Like here you got a very pale white woman with a kind of like sort of like very like more sort of tanned man, whereas these, they're both the same colour. The moon as well is like a half moon. On this one is a half moon, which is like also a full moon. On this one, the sun's very different as well. The sun on this one is bright yellow throughout, whereas this one starts off white in the middle and it sort of expands to a much lighter yellow on the outside. It's not until you get a red border. So really, they're very different in colours. Chariot. And again, not much difference in the image itself other than the symbols that have been added to the newer edition. Different colours on the wheels again. You've got a more wood colour again versus a golden colour for the chariot. This is a much darker horse, like a sort of much darker brown horse, whereas this is a much lighter brown horse. You've got the white horse with yellow hair, where the white horse has got white hair. Much deeper green on the colours of the trousers of the guy riding the horse. Riding the chariot, should I say. Now that's interesting. Now these two characters look very different. It makes the actual character look a lot kind of like less attractive almost on the newer version, because it's been blown out. It's like wide in the face, whereas this one's a much thinner face woman. There's also something in the actual set. You obviously got the one with the fire on the scales on this side, but on this side there's like a yellow liquid inside the other side, whereas this one is more like filled with water. And when you look at the background as well, the background is very different. It's like an icy cold background on this one. It's a sunny bright on this one. You've got like a river running through the back, and you can see like the yellow sun like burning on the river. And in the sky, whereas this one you've got like the pale sky and blue water, but a cold blue icy water. Whereas this is a much more warmer sunny day. The fire on the head again is different. We got the sort of like bright yellow. They've both got the eyes. The eyes inside the fire are very different. This one's like a deep red, just a pure red eye. And this one's like a bluish eye with a like a sort of pale border, so it's a more human eye. At first glance, again, these two cards look very different. You can look at it, actually, like, notice there's not that much difference in this in the artwork as well, other than the pale background. It's a much darker blue sky, and it's like a nighttime blue sky, like a real kind of like sort of like nice sky at night, if you like. Whereas this one's a dark, dull, sandy, dusty sky, dirty sky. And you've got the same snake in the corner there. This one's got the symbol inside the centre of it. And the water as well in the lake in the background here is like a nice blue colour, whereas this one's like a really pure kind of like environmental setting in the background, whereas this one's a more dirty, musky environmental setting. The Wheel of Fortune. Again, the paleness in the sky. The stars on this one are on a pure black, whereas here they're in the blue. But again, you've got the blue sky, so the background's again very different. The dragons are the opposite way around as well. I've just noticed you've got the red dragon on top of the new one with the white underneath, and the white dragon is actually on top on the other dragons are the reverse way around. The lion on this one is a much more, it looks like a much more healthy lion, like a strong yellow lion, whereas this one's green. It's kind of a more, like it's not such a kind looking lion, shall I say. This one looks more strength, whereas this one looks to be infected. The heart on this one is a lot clearer as well, like a more bright, fresh heart, whereas this one's like a pale, dull heart. So this to me is like strength is much weaker than this strength, because this looks like a stronger lion. The woman looks healthier, like a healthier pale, like healthier colour of skin. Is much more pale in this one. The sun is got like looks happier in this one. You've got like faces on the sun and the moon, and this one's a more happy face. There's a dull face on the moon, on the sun. Sorry. The heart is much red and fresh, where it's dull and dying on this one. Yeah, this is a much more stronger card. The Hangman. I'm not going to go into the skies again at the back, but they are there. It's on every card near enough. But the coins on this one are a lot more yellow. They look much richer, more gold to them, where these are like sort of whitey off, like much lesser. It looks to me like it represents much less value in these coins to this one, whereas this one's much pure gold. Whereas this is like kind of like a lesser, like kind of watered down scale of gold. Death. Oh, the fire on death on this one's much brighter. The card and the background is dark and both on the same. They have the extra symbol on this one. Yeah, this death looks to be a lot more. There's not a lot more of anything, I wouldn't say. It's just the fire, it burns a lot brighter on this one. Temperance. You got the fire, well not the fire, sorry, the flowers growing out the dirt mound at the back here. The sun on this one's a lot kind of like deeper again. And you got a light sunlight beaming on the yellow stream, whereas this one you got a blue icy stream with a less bright sun. It seems on these cards the sun's a lot duller. And that's a pattern what's coming throughout the entire deck. The woman herself as well looks like kind of with the stretched face, looks a lot more less healthy in this one than this one. the devil. That kind of bluish eye at the bottom of this one compared to a much more darker greyish eye at the bottom of this one. The dragon is breathing a yellow fire as opposed to a red fire on this one. Again, a much paler skin. Yeah, this deck seems a lot more kind of, like, there's a lot more health in this deck than this one. The tower. Have a much like sort of deeper yellow inside the flames of the tower. There's a burning something in this tower which is producing a liquid from a broken vessel up here. The woman seems to be kind of gaining the water as the man's like getting a drop of blood. It seems like it's in favour of the woman. Guy's suit on this one's like a really kind of lightish or a really deepish blue compared to a greenish colour on this one. Yeah, I think this card definitely favours the female over the male. Now these two cards at first glance look completely different. The actual character in the centre, I don't think there's too much difference. But the card itself, I think it's the background again what's making it look so different. I think almost like the symbols are different as well. No, the symbols are the same apart from this one. You have an extra symbol up here. You have a face in the sun and the moon in this one, which you don't on this one. It's a more pure sun when you think about it. It's more like the sun doesn't really have a face, nor does the moon. It's more real. The water is very more similar on this than it is on others. Obviously you're getting like the milk out of one of the woman's breasts and blood out of the other. That's true on both cards. The star itself with the like symbol within the star, it seems a lot more kind of like a more sort of darker star almost, and the darker sky as well. It's really giving, like, you've got the rays coming off the star on this one, it's just in a nice pure blue sky on this one. It's a much darker star. Again, the moon is much darker in the newer version. It's a much more lighter, more cheerful moon, if you like. I think maybe the moon in 1995 was a much happier moon almost than in these modern days. A much more cloudy, murky, dirty sky, whereas it's got a much more pure, clean cloud over here. I always thought the moon was kind of interesting with the two dogs as a sign of loyalty. The dress as well is like a nice, real rich blue in this one, where it's much more dark, misty in this one. It's a much dirtier kind of sky, a much dirtier atmosphere, whereas this one's very clean. The sun, again, the sun is much brighter in the older version than the newer. It's giving a much cleaner sky, much cleaner fields as well. Like here you've got like grass, like pure green grass. The fields aren't necessarily dirty in this card either, but they're not as clean. Like the houses as well are much like kind of like white with red brick roof houses, with yellow here with red brick roofs. It's a much more kind of like joyous house over here, I think. Again, the crown is very different on this one. Again, here you've almost got a silver crown with like just a gold rim. It's a much cheaper version of the crown, where here the crown's solid gold on the old version. So it's a much richer crown. Again, judgment favours the woman. See the woman ascending and the guy being sent down. Much like kind of brighter wings on the angel in this one, very multicoloured rainbow wings, whereas here it's kind of, it's rainbow wings again, but very much darker through a darker sky background. Got a much clearer corner on this one, it's a lot more yellow, very clean. The world. The woman on this one looks a lot healthier. She's got a much kind of like, sort of like a natural like sort of tanned skin, whereas here she's very pale. The staff as well, the gold side, the rose is pretty much the same, it's redder on this side. And the different atmospheres of the earth. On this one, a nice clean sky at night, nice clear river, like stones in the fresh sky, and the fire is kind of burning pure. Much redder background on the fire. It seems like a dirtier atmosphere on the ground, dirtier sky, and not as clean water, but it's mainly the sky which is dirtier in the newer version. Again, much clearer sky, much more optimistic looking rabbit on this one, but the stretching it out makes it look more scared. Not a great deal of difference between these two cards. The lion looks more fearsome on this one. The lion head looks, I don't know. This is bigger. It looks stronger for some reason on this side. This is more gold. It's like this coin here is more gold than this one. So this seems like a richer card, like unusually on the newer deck. Up to now, it's like every card's been much like representing kind of wealth has been much more like richer on the actual older card side, but not this one. Three of coins. The older cards, you've got 3 gold coins on this one. You've got a gold, silver, and a bronze coin on this one. The sky is again a lot cleaner in the old card. The drawing's the same. He looks healthier. He's got a healthier head of like sort of dark brownish hair, whereas he's going grey. Much healthier skin colour on the older card. But again, this one's richer because of the gold as opposed to the bronze and the silver. Every gold coin on this one is gold. On the coins, like on the coins, you're getting richer, like a much more rich sets of gold on the like the newer cards. Whereas this one, it's kind of an opposite turn from some of the other cards that we saw, where you got a much duller coin. But the land is a lot clearer on this one. The water's kind of clear on both, but it's more clear on this one. And the sky again is clearer. Yeah, the coins on this one look to be equal in value. The city is both thriving. The character himself seems to be a worker in a thriving place, even despite his injury. I think he may have one leg. The sky's kind of misty on both of these, but more misty in the newer one. But very similar card. I think I may have a mix up on coin. What coin I've got here? I've got the 7 of coins with 6 of coins. So I seem to be missing my. Well, this is the 6 of coins. I've just done the 5 of coins. So the new deck seems to be missing the 6 of coins. So I'll come back to that one because this is a brand new deck I've opened today. It's missing the 6 of coins. At least it's not in the right order, but the 7 of coins is both here. Yeah, I do know that the old deck is complete, so I checked it upon arrival, but I haven't checked the new one because I unwrapped it myself today. I assumed it wouldn't be missing any cards unless. No. But we'll get back to that, so it may be just somewhere different in the deck. Again, very similar coins, very similar cards. You have the same sort of values running through. A very similar pitch of like bronze to silver to dark silver at the bottom, like a metal. The gold coin on top being a brighter gold on this one. Very similar once again. And then the guy's coloured clothes is different. I might start going through a few of these less important cards, but a little slower, a little more faster, should I say. So then you look at the cards and see the difference for yourself. Now the knight's shield on this one is a much more golden colour, whereas here's got like an iron shield, here's got a golden shield. And this is in coins as well, don't forget, so it's kind of like more keyed into a wealth. And this is a richer card. Very similar, apart from the skies. It does seem like my new deck is actually missing the 6 of coins, which is disappointing, especially considering it wasn't the cheapest deck on that you could actually go out and buy. Much healthier line on the coins on this one. I do hope it shows up somewhere else in this deck, to be fair, but the original deck does have it, the 6 of coins, whereas the new deck doesn't, up to now. Back to the Ace of Vessels here. Much cleaner river on this one, clearer fruit as well, much fresher fruit on the vessels on the old cards. Healthier people in this one, much more like sort of like healthy skin colour compared to the pale, ill looking colour of this one. Again, the people look healthier on this one in a very similar card. You have these coloured dots under here, I'm not quite sure what that's about. They don't appear on the original. You have a black, yellow and red dot. The symbols inside the vessels themselves are the same, and this one's got a flame on it, which doesn't appear on the original. The woman in the red dress, she's the only woman who's actually got the red dot, the red dress and the fire. Whereas the blue dress with a yellow dot and the yellow dress with a black dot. Interesting. The new card's got like 4 different colours for the vessels on which the elephant stands, whereas this one you've got like one like sort of different colour here, but these are pretty much 2 different shades of the same. That one and that one are identical, but the one at the back foot is slightly different shade of the same colour. The colour of the background world seems to be different. Not a lot of difference between the 2 there, they're both like an indoor card. Now the woman on this one, her eyes on this one almost look to be possessed, whereas on this one she looks like almost like she's like looks more human. Different colours in the vessels on this one, but the figure itself seems a lot more, I don't know, a lot more less kind, should I say. Yeah, when I was originally looking at YouTube, when I first purchased the decks and was waiting for them to arrive, so I actually had to wait for these to arrive from different countries, both different countries. Got the original deck from France, and the 4th edition came from America. But whilst I was waiting for them to arrive, I did actually did a lot of like YouTube research on like this deck specifically, and I found very little reference to this deck. Everyone seems to be doing videos on the new deck, so I think this one's a lot more rare. It certainly did cost a lot more money as well. Cleaner skies. The goat seems to thrive either way. I really have a lack of understanding of this card. It seems like machinery doing all the work. I don't know quite what that card would tell me. Much purer sky on this one. Clean sky, dirty sky. Again, healthier woman. The water looks to be pure on both ends though. In fact, if anything, it's pure for a change on the newer card. I need to start moving through this video, so I'll start flicking through them a little faster. I'm going to point out major differences that I feel are worth the note. The whale looks to be dying on this one. It's a much pale grey, whereas this one is strong and healthy. The sword looks to be richer on the newer one. You've got a gold crescent compared to it like an iron colour. In the dirtier sky. Very similar cards. There's like conflict between the two swords in both cards. Nothing about the environment, just the conflict of the two swords.